Without the power of God behind everything I do, I really am completely inadequate.
I'm helping the culture. These guys are part of us as well. You know, these guys are our cousin. I'm helping the culture. I'm pushing the culture forward in another way.
Hey, black child, be what you can be, learn what you must learn, do what you can do, and tomorrow.
What do you do after you read? What do you do after you know all, right? And you can say that you're truly conscious. How are you putting what you know into action?
This is the Initiative radio show, shifting the paradigm through conversation on any and everything relating to our communities and culture. Now introducing your new girl, Jasmine Renee.
What's up? Good morning. It's your new girl, Jasmine Renee, here at the Good News Radio Station, bringing you the Initiative Radio Show. What's up? I'm just happy to be here, as always. This week was crazy. Happy Thanksgiving to everyone. I hope you guys are, sharing time with your family. I hope you did already, and if you are still with your family, I hope you guys are enjoying them. It's funny because I was thinking about that interview that Toni Braxton did, and she was like, I just don't like my family. And not that that's how I feel about my family, but it was just funny because I'm wondering how many people are really sitting there in front of their family cannot wait to get away from them, or I really just do not like these people. So I hope that if that was you, that you got some sense of happiness out of the holidays. It's always a cool time to just chill. A lot of people are off work. A lot of people are getting time off and stuff, so we're able to do a lot more and just enjoy each other. So yes, shout out to Deja Iman in the comments. Good morning to you too. Community stuff, since you reminded me, let me also cue the music. That was kind of loud, I think. Okay, I think we'll leave it there. Let me know if the music is too loud. But yeah, so community stuff. Shout out to Peace of Mind. Tonight, there will be an event at Peace of Mind. Follow Peace of Mind CPT on Instagram. And they're having an open mic, Mind on the Mic. So make sure you go and support that. I will definitely put the flyer in my story so that you guys can see what's going on over there. I believe if you're there before 8, it's either a discounted entry. I think it's free entry. So make sure you're there. Go show up and support the community. There are, I believe, King Q and his brand, Power LA, they're also throwing an event pretty soon. So make sure you guys just check out these people and check out the different things that are going on in the community. I'm trying to think. I feel like I had so much on my mind at first, but I'm not sure. Well, anyways, I'll post some flyers of things that's going on. I know, shout out to the Hub Radio because they're having the Christmas parade December 8th, and they're also doing an after party, which is something dope that we can all be a part of. And they're also doing basically like a Toys for Tots kind of thing. And collecting toys to give away to the children of Compton. They're also bringing snow in and just basically trying to do a great thing for the city of Compton. So shout out to the camp and everybody that's a part of that group. Shout out to the Hub Radio for the work that they do. Shout out to Compton just for, not even trying to, but always doing positive work for their people. I truly appreciate seeing that and sometimes even being a part of it. So shout out to them. In other news, that's pretty much it as far as community stuff. But yeah, it's holiday season, so we're all I feel like people are in better moods and stuff. Black Friday was yesterday. I hope everyone had a safe Black Friday, and I'm pretty sure there's deals going on for the rest of the week. But if you're going Black Friday shopping, be safe. If not, or if you're going shopping for Christmas gifts, be safe and stuff. I know the stores are about to be extremely packed within the next few weeks. So just be safe and, be grateful. The title of today's episode is Gratitude, which is, in alignment with Thanksgiving, which just passed or whatever. So there's a lot of people, we're all on this like conscious, woke, whatever tip. And, we love like shunning the reason why we were all told to celebrate Thanksgiving. And it's actually cool just to see how many people are becoming more aware. And I posted this last night, like so many people will tell me like, we'll be in conversation and I'll say something and they'll be like, oh, I'm not as woke as you. And I'm like, I'm not woke or anything. Like I literally just see things and I feel the need to speak up about them. And it like behooves us to see things and to not speak up about them. And to be black in America, it's hard to not speak up on the injustices that we are dealt. It's hard to not speak up on the microaggressions that we have to deal with. It's hard to not speak up on just minor things that we have to go through. I know, shout out to Taylor, she was telling me just a story about how her and another one of our friends are basically at the store, and they felt uncomfortable because the lady was like accusing them of stealing or something like that. And we're all grown and we work. Like ain't nobody stealing on this side. So, and I'm not saying no one is stealing. I'm just saying they weren't. And it's one of those things where she was just like, why do I have to feel like that going into a store? Like, why do we still have to go through those feelings? And we can't even go and like tell anybody like, hey, they make me feel like this, because it's not valid. A lot of times like our cries are just cries. That's simply what they are, but they're not heard. So it behooves me to hear stories like that or to experience stories like that and not speak up about them. And that's basically what I was saying. Like, I just talk about the things that I see. I talk about the things that my kids are dealing with, my students are dealing with, and I talk about the things that the people that I love around me are dealing with. And if I see that they are not being dealt with right, then I have to speak up. I use my platform, since I have one, to speak up. So it's not necessarily about being conscious or being woke. There is a history that has to be learned, and I feel like to better us in the now, we have to learn the history, yes, but that's just learning about yourself. That's what I kind of take it as, just like learning about African American history or just black history in general is me taking the time out to learn about myself, to learn the things that I did not know, to grasp like concepts that I was confused about when it came to me. So it's not even about being anything outside of what I am. It's just me coming into myself, me advocating for myself, me advocating for those that I love. Because if you see somebody that you love kind of getting beat up, you're going to stand up for them, or you're going to say something about it like, hey, that's wrong. So that's just something that I feel like is necessary for black people. I understand it's not for everybody to speak up, but at some point in time, there will be something that bothers you to the point where you need to speak up. So I feel like if we speak up prior to that something happening, maybe we can see a change a little quicker. And then also, like, it's not really about us. At the end of the day, a biblical story, Moses was basically the shepherd of the Israelites, and he was told that he was never going to see the promised land, and that's basically what he was there to lead them to, the promised land. And God told him basically that he's never going to see it, but he still did the work. He still did the work effectively and efficiently to get them there, and sure enough, he never did see it. And sometimes we have to take on that role as like the millennials of this generation, and we have to kind of just say like, we might not see a better day. We might not see a day where, or a year where black people are not being shot and killed by the cops, but it will happen. And if we continue to fight, our children and our children's children will live a better life, because I'm pretty sure our ancestors thought they would never see a day where they wouldn't be enslaved or where segregation wouldn't be a very like present thing in their life. But for us, their children and their children's children and so far and so on, we are living a life without that. So that's kind of, I mean, it's to me first. That definitely, I did not plan on saying this, but it's definitely to me first. And it makes me want to push harder. So I hope those of you guys that are listening want to also push and just do better for those that are coming, because our life is the way that it is because of our ancestors. We're not living enslaved. We are not dealing with segregation. We have our own battles to fight, but they fought their battles the way that they needed to fight them so that we could live the life that we need to live and then continue to fight for those that are coming. So it's not about you if you don't feel like anything is happening to you because you're where you are, it's fine. But what about your children? What about those around you? What about the ones that, are dealing with things? Are they worth fighting for? Because, the world is not necessarily fighting for us. So we got to do it. But yeah, that's that. If you're just now tuning in, it's your new girl, Jasmine Renee, here at the Good News Radio Station, bringing to you the Initiative Radio Show. Just kind of talk about the ancestors, and even, it's not even just a black thing. So if you're listening, you're not black. It's not even just that. You guys have to do the research for whatever background it is that you come from and figure out how you can serve in that capacity. So yeah, that's pretty much it. This is probably gonna be like a short episode. We're gonna get in and get out. But the topic today is gratitude, and gratitude is, like I said, in alignment with the season right now. We're all, grateful for the things that are happening, the people that we're being able to spend time with. We're probably seeing people that we haven't seen in a long time. Probably since last holiday season. And a lot of us, I know, like millennials, we're working a lot and we're freelancing or doing who knows what, and we don't get to see our family a lot. I know that's something that I struggle with daily, is just, I work 2 jobs and then I have Initiative and then I have the radio show and then everything else. So I don't see my family as much as I would wish to. And I feel guilty sometimes, but I know, like, I have to live my life. And I have to do certain things to put certain things in order so that I'm not leaning on them for support that I can give myself. So that's that. But it's just a thing of, I think you have to find gratitude in whatever space it is that you are in your life. You have to definitely, like, find gratitude there. You have to understand that it's not, like I said, just about you. And that sometimes, yes, like, we may feel negatively or we may not have the best feelings towards something, but there is definitely, like, a silver lining in all situations, I believe. But the definition, as you guys know, I love looking up words and just giving you guys the actual meanings to things. But gratitude is the readiness to show appreciation for and to return kindness. And I like the definition because it's not just you sitting on your gratefulness. It's not just you acknowledging that I'm grateful for that, but it's also the act of returning that. It's also the act of simply letting someone know that you are grateful for them and kind of like letting their day, brightening their day by showing your gratitude. And there are, like, different health benefits and different social benefits that come with being grateful. If you just think about it, when you're having a horrible day or you're at work and you hate your job, like, you probably operate differently and you might do your job well, but then the way that you interact with people might be differently. The way that you drive to work is different. The way that you feel, I should say. The way that you feel on your drive to work, that's a little different. And the way that you feel going home is a little different compared to if you were actually grateful for the time spent. If you found something to be grateful for, like, oh, I don't like this job, but when I'm here, I get to do this and that, or I get to see so-and-so, or I know that I'm getting paid for being here, so I'm grateful for this part that I have right now. And I think that's, like, a serious thing that we have to pay attention to. Like, that's something that we do not pay attention to is, are we grateful for the moment that we're in right now? Are we grateful for the people that we're around? And if you're not, it's either you need to remove yourself from those people and not have them around, or you need to check yourself and go, why am I not exhibiting gratitude in this moment. And it's not like every time you get around your friends, oh my gosh, I love you so much and I just want to be around you all the time. That's not what it is, but it's just acknowledging within yourself. And you'll see, like, the more gratitude that you show, the more that you start to practice gratitude, the more that it will just exude. The more light that it will just, light will beam from you when you're grateful. And I don't want to make it seem like it's just a light switch that you just turn on and automatically, like, your hair is growing and your skin is glowing. Like, no, it's just something that changes yourself. It's an inner work. So sometimes people might not necessarily see it, but you'll feel a difference in the way that you interact, in the way that you go on about your day. Because at the end of the day, I know, like, a lot of us deal with things that we don't like talking about, especially when we're by ourselves. A lot of us, whether it be depression, whether it be just simply being sad, whether it be the feeling of I'm not enough, whether it be any of those things, a lot of us deal with those things silently. And I feel like if we do work on ourselves, the inside of us, our internal things, our internal values, we won't have to deal with those things when we're by ourselves. We'll be able to enjoy that time, that self-care that we're trying to give ourselves. A lot of us can't even operate in self-care because we hate being alone. And I think that's a real thing. Like, to hate being alone and is detrimental because it keeps you from being able to, like, deal with yourself. So that's something that I think we should definitely pay attention to. I'm gonna look at these comments. Shout out to Willis and his show Chill Will Radio, which is on at 5:30 on Sundays, the Good News radio station. So if you're on the app, all you have to do is click the app on Sundays, and he will be live at 5:30 p.m. But he said, got to move with intent. Have to intentionally move with gratitude in your mindset. I'm sorry, I cannot read. I can read, but I don't know why. Like, I think I need glasses. It said, let me reread it. It said, got to move with intent. Have to intentionally move with gratitude in your mindset. Make it a mission in our lives. I think, yes, intention has been something that I've literally been, like, constantly saying since last year around this time. Actually, like I said, I did a cleanse about a year ago, and it had to do with, like, my dating life. And I was just like, I want to be intentional about who I'm allowing in my circle or in my space. And that has literally, like, molded 2018 for me and has, like, set me on not a pedestal, but just on the right track for life. And I said this all of last year, like, the work that a lot of us did for 2017 is literally not even setting us up for 2018, but setting us up for life. So I'm really appreciative of that word, and that word really, like, sticks with me. But it is a mindset that you have to have. Like, you have to intentionally tell yourself that I'm going to work on these things, that I'm going to be grateful, that I'm going to, and not even just forcing yourself to be grateful, but find something. There's always something in every aspect of life. There will always be something that you can be grateful for. And if you think that there isn't, that means you're not looking hard enough. And you should go back to the drawing board, spend some time with yourself, and figure out, okay, so when I wake up in the morning, what's one thing I can be grateful for? When I'm on my way to work, what's another thing I can be grateful for? If you have kids, what's something that you see in your kids that you can be grateful for? It can just be one thing per kid. Or if you have one kid, just find a few things in that one kid. But what are some things that you can be grateful for within every aspect of your life? When you're at work, like, find one or two things. Find something every hour that you're at work. If you're at work for 8 hours, just find 8 things that you can be grateful for in the workspace. Because I don't think it's beneficial to us as human beings to go to work every day and not feel a sense of gratitude for being there. I think we definitely have to understand that we have to exude some type of positive feeling. We have to like connect to a positive feeling when we are there. So that is that. There are a few questions. Well, if you're just now tuning in, this is new girl Jasmine Renee here at the Good News radio station, bringing to you the Initiative radio show. We're just talking a little bit about gratitude, and Willis brought up intention and making that a part of your mindset, which I think is a really dope thing. But some questions like, is gratitude necessary? I truly believe that it is. I was gonna say I don't think you have to have gratitude in every aspect of your life, but that goes against what I was just saying. So I think you do. I think there can be small glimpses of gratitude in your life. I think it's harmful to live a life where you go a day without being grateful for something. And I think a lot of people do. I think a lot of people do, like, go days without actually acknowledging something that they're grateful for. And that's not always a good thing to do. It's never a good thing to do, because that means that, like, your soul is not being replenished. If you're not acknowledging something that you're grateful for, that means you're not being, like, fed, like, either spiritually, or you're not being fed emotionally, you're not being fed intellectually. So I think we do need to, like, go into kind of this space of just self and kind of ask ourselves, like, what is it that I actually am grateful for? And just see how those things kind of, like, change. See how the roles kind of switch. Yeah. And see how, like, your days kind of get better. And, like, I think this is a real common thing where a lot of people just don't like going to work. But if you find something that makes you happy there, or that makes you want to say thank you there, I'm pretty sure maybe your days will be a little better. They won't be completely better, but they'll be a tad bit better. And another question is, like, what happens when there's ungrateful people around you? And I think one thing that I love looking at first is self. So another question that I had also was, like, what happens when you notice that you're the ungrateful person? Because I think we notice things before the people around us do. I think there are a lot of times where people call us out on things, and it's like, oh, well, and internally we'll say, I've known that about me. And it's like, oh, you're just, it's just that you're just finding out. But a lot of times we know our downfalls, and we know what is wrong with us. Or not necessarily what is wrong, but we know those things that are keeping us from progressing forward. So, one, I think when you're able to acknowledge that you're the ungrateful person that's around, I think you do have to take yourself out of the equation and kind of check yourself, like, what is something that I can do to not be this person? And when you have ungrateful people around you, even just saying things like, little things like, look at this, or, don't you have, X, Y, and Z? So, and maybe reminding them, or you can remove yourself from them. Those are also things, but I don't want to be the person that's like, if you have ungrateful people around you, just remove yourself. Like, they're horrible, they're going to drain your energy. Yes, that is a thing, but if they're around you, in my head, I'm thinking that at some point in time, you want to be around them, and you just acknowledge that they're going through something. In the same way, like, if someone is depressed, I wouldn't say, oh, do not hang around depressed people. I think there's something that is keeping you connected to that person, so let's help them rather than, like, single them out, because I think that is a detriment to both people. Looking at the comments, Deja Iman said, I've learned that moving and living with gratitude elevates anxiety and depression. You said elevates or alleviates? Deja Iman, I think she meant alleviates because she put a heart, or elevates meaning, like, takes it away. But if that's what you're meaning to say, then yeah. Like, I was saying something else. Oh, okay. Someone asked, like, what are the benefits of a genuine relationship or a genuine commitment? And I was saying, I think genuine trust and, like, unconditional love kind of ease anxiety. And I think gratitude also does. Okay, so she said yes. It alleviates anxiety and depression. And I think those are things, and like I said, with genuine love and trust, and also adding gratitude into that, you do kind of put anxiety on not even on the back burner. You're kind of like dissolving it. Because it's like, if I can find something that I'm grateful for that brings me a little bit of joy in this situation, then I won't be as worried about it. I'm trying to think of something that like brings me anxiety. I know I've talked about this a lot. So this is something like a little minor, but like traffic. And because my mind is always going, and I know I've talked about this a lot, because my mind is constantly on the move, like boom, boom, boom. When I'm sitting in traffic, it literally messes with like the frequencies of my mind, because I'm at a standstill and I cannot move, and my mind is like constantly going, like thinking. So like my mind wants to kind of just go, but I'm sitting in traffic, so like I'm at a standstill and I can't. So that, it would give me anxiety. And now what I kind of do, because at first I would listen to music, and that it kind of helped to a point, but now I have to realize like sometimes I get used to certain things. So when I'm listening to music, I get used to that certain thing, and then my anxiety starts to kick in, because it's like, oh, okay, so this is what you're normally doing, so then the anxiety is about to rise again or whatever. And now I switch it up sometimes, and sometimes I'll do podcasts for like weeks straight, and then I'll bring it back to music for like weeks straight. But it's just something where I can notice in myself now, where it's like I have to constantly switch up what I'm doing in my car if I'm going to be sitting in traffic. And I've gotten better with it, where I'm just like, yo, chill. You know, like, it's not that serious, just chill. Like, that's not what's going to happen. And I think it's also like, it's not that I'm just sitting there, but it's also me like basically trying to contemplate my day, or me basically dealing with certain things that happen in my day in my head. And I'm always in a rush. Like, for one, when I leave my first job at the school, I go coach at a different school. I literally have like 20 to 25 minutes to get to the school. So in that 20 to 25 minutes, my mind is literally like rinsing itself of everything that happened within those 6 to 7 hours before I get to go and coach, where I have to have a completely new mind. I have to know what I'm going to do with these girls, X, Y, and Z, whatever. And having to get dressed and change like really, really quick, it just really like stirs up my mind, and sometimes it's just too much. So doing all of that in only 20 to 25 minutes, it does. But now, like, I know when I'm in my car, I put on my podcast, and because they're talking at a certain pace, it kind of like calms me down. And that's something where I was just like, it's not basically it doesn't put my anxiety in the back burner, but it just dissolves it in a way. Where now I can, you know, kind of move freely. And I know, like, okay, Jazz, you have to do this. You only have 25 minutes to get there, but do this first. And then after you do that, do this. And then after you do this. And by the time that all of that is done, I'm here. And I kind of just let my mind kind of like chill and just relax. And then I also work out too. So those are some things like that I'm just doing to kind of dissolve the anxiety. And then just, you know, like Deja was saying, the gratitude will help with that too, where I'm able to like listen to podcasts where I'm grateful for the voices that I'm hearing. Listen to music where I'm like, yo, this is really a dope song. I've kind of gotten away, and I kind of am starting to feel bad listening to rap music. That's like FBs and all of this, and y'all ain't this and X, you know, whatever. I kind of feel bad. Like, I'm just like, oh, I don't want to listen to this anymore. Because I feel like it does bring feelings that I don't want. So I'm listening more to stuff that's like, oh, I can identify with that. 2 albums that I'm extremely grateful for are A Seat at the Table by Solange, and not Room 20. Well, Room 25 I'm grateful for too, by No Name, and I forgot what the first one is called. But yeah, so No Name, both of her albums, and the Solange album, those are albums that I'm literally like grateful to God for, and I'll literally just play them and have them in kind of like rotation when I'm not listening to my podcast. And there's other music as well, like Beyonce, of course. But I don't even know if I connect with like a Beyonce album the way that I connect with those two. So those are two that I'm forever grateful for. But yeah, those are just things that I'm literally finding, and it has nothing to do with my day, but I'm just putting something in my day that I know that I'm grateful for. And they literally like just soothe my mind. So I'm just grateful for those two albums. Shout out to Keith Good News, who just had a birthday. He's finally 30. The mastermind behind the Good News radio station. But he said procrastination creates low self-esteem. Did you see that video with that black lady? Is that where you got that from? I don't think procrastination creates low self-esteem. I don't agree with that, Keith. I think it's just, maybe it's being lazy, but I don't think I've never really, like, if anything, when I used to procrastinate in school, and probably even now, I was like, oh, like, I'm good at this. Like, not at procrastinating, but it was just like I saw my worth in my work. I kind of like saw what I could do. And I know, like, even with projects, I was just like, dang, I got this done in 2 days. Like, I'm the one. But I never really experienced low self-esteem from it. But he said he didn't see the video. So there was a video with this black lady, and she was saying, basically, I forgot what word she used, but she used procrastination, and she was just like, I don't even know if she used procrastination, but she was basically saying, why don't we commit to doing things for ourselves when we commit to doing things for other people? And she was basically saying, like, she used herself, and I forgot her name, but she was saying, like, basically, if y'all set a meeting up with me, you would come to the meeting. You would come to the meeting. If we set a meeting for Sunday at 10:30, whoever set the meeting would come to me, and we would meet at 10:30. And what she was saying was, we set these deadlines for ourselves, and we tell ourselves, like, I want to do X, Y, and Z by, let's say, next Tuesday. And next Tuesday comes, and we don't do it. And she was just like, I think she was saying it shows that you don't believe in yourself when you're not willing to show up for yourself. But you're willing to show up to a meeting with me, but not show up for the deadline that you set for yourself. And I think that was a real feeling, a real statement, I should say, that a lot of times, yes, like when I do make meetings with people, I'm like, let me make sure I'm there. Let me make sure I do this. But when it comes to myself and when it comes to my brand, I'm like, oh, this can wait, or this can wait. Or I'll set something and I'll be like, oh, I'm going to push my deadline for myself a little further back. So that's a real feeling. And it kind of was like an alignment, I feel like, with what you said. I think I'm going to rewatch it because I feel like she worded it a little differently. But yeah, I don't think procrastination creates low self-esteem, but I can see where you're going with that, and I feel like that's kind of where she was going to. Shout out to Tay. You're in Thailand, aren't you? He said, always know your worth. I know somebody from Straight to the League is in Thailand. I've been seeing all of your videos, and if you are, shout out to that, because Asia is an amazing place. I went in the summer, and I loved it so much. So I hope you're enjoying everything out there. Procrastination. This is Keith Good News. I'm back to the comments. I'm sorry. Procrastinating is like letting yourself down by not doing something you know you should have. Getting something done releases endorphins on your brain, which creates higher self-esteem. Tim is in Thailand. That's Dante. Oh, I'm sorry. Sorry. Okay. I haven't, like, met you guys. Like, actually met you guys. So I don't know who's who. But I know that one of you guys are. But hello, Dante. Thank you for tuning in. And shout out to Tim in his people and his wife, I think, and he's like with other friends that are out there. But back to Keith's comment. I think procrastination brings on certain levels of anxiety. But I don't think it brings low self-esteem. At least for myself, I never got low self-esteem from, like, not from procrastinating. I just never got that where it was just like, oh my God. Like, I never got that feeling. So I can't really attest to that. But have you personally, Keith, have you felt a sense of low self-esteem while or after procrastinating? I think after you kind of look at yourself like, oh, I should have did that a little earlier. But at the end of the day, if you're able to get that work done, I feel like that's a point to you. Yes, it should have been done earlier. But at the end of the day, if you got it in at 12 and you started it at 10, you still got it done. And that's just kind of that. I do feel, like I said, it brings on anxiety because I know anytime that I procrastinated, I was definitely thinking about that thing all the way up until I actually started it. And then while I was actually doing the project or whatever it was, I was like stressing like, oh my gosh, am I going to get this done? Something that I had to stop doing, and what I was telling my sister, shout out to Dominique, like when something, even now in my adult life, when something comes up and it's like somebody's like, oh, how are you going to deal with this? And they're rushing me or trying to make me just be overwhelmed with whatever situation. I'm just like, yo, the worst that can happen is X, Y, and Z. And if that happens, like, it's fine. I'll take care of it. But I never, at this point in time, I'm not really at a point where I like, how should I say this? I'm not at a point where I'm allowing my anxiety to get the best of me. It's just kind of like I said, if this doesn't happen and the worst thing happens, I'll still be good. Like, I'll still be fine. So when I used to do my work, especially when I was in college, I knew, like, girl, this is going to be done by 12. I don't care if it's 10:30. This is going to be done by 12 because that's when it's supposed to be due. And at 12:01, I'm going to be chilling. And that's kind of what would keep me grounded. It was just like, yep, I know, and you're going to get this done. I don't care how fast you have to type. I don't care what you have to do. But at the end of the day, you're going to turn in this assignment. And I didn't care what time it was. And sure enough, it was turned in, if not before, but by 12. Or even if it was turned in before. But those are just tactics that I use where it's just like, worst comes to worst, it doesn't get turned in. And I can still bounce back from that. Because I know that I was doing the work before to, like, keep a decent grade. So those are things, it was just like, if it happens, it happens. If not, it doesn't. And those are things that kind of, like, kept my anxiety down. So Keith is in the comments. He said, well, it's different when there's a deadline. When there's no deadline, you are just pushing your own progress back, which is detriment to your thoughts. You can't operate freely when you know you have things to do. You can't be present. I recommend a book called Eat the Frog by Brian Tracy. You'll see what I mean. Oh, okay. Well, okay, when you said procrastination, I imagine like there's a deadline and you're pushing it into the deadline. But you're talking about procrastination in life where it's been like 2-3 years and you still haven't completed this task. That's what you're talking about, Keith. And you're still just not completing the task. I don't even think that's procrastination. I think that's just being lazy. I don't want to say being lazy, but I think that's just you not putting in effort. Because I feel like procrastination is, I guess it is always putting something off, but I feel like it's putting something off to the end of it. But you still kind of are doing it. Maybe I'm wrong. But that was just not my perception of it. I'm going to look up the definition right now. You said absolutely everything is life. What were you saying that So, I mean, I guess, yeah. So, the definition is just the action of delaying or postponing something. So, I guess if you're continuously postponing something that's supposed to be happening in your life, I can see how that can bring on some type of like low self-esteem or you not believing in yourself. I'll say because I think initially you have some type of fire in yourself and you're ready to go and you're good. When you have some type of fire initially, and let's say it's going on its first year and its second year that you're not doing it, and now it's the third year that you're not doing it, I can see how that does bring on like low self-esteem. I don't know why when I think about procrastination, I'm always thinking about school. Yeah, but I'm always thinking about school when it comes to procrastination because I'm thinking like there has to be a deadline. But I'm like, in life, I don't know if I've really gotten to a point where I know that there's certain things that I procrastinated with, or I don't even, like maybe certain thoughts and stuff. But for me, almost majority of the things that I've like said that I wanted to do, I've kind of done. And at some point in time, I am a lazy person. So what I've also done is create things that kind of will run on their own. So like even with the radio show, like it helps me keep the brand running all year long. There's something that's being produced by the brand all year long. And if I want to drop shirts, sometimes I can drop shirts. But what the shirts do is I'll buy X amount of numbers and be able to keep them for X amount of months, and just sell them for X amount of months. So that's also keeping like the brand going, and people are wearing them. So I'll post when that's happening. But yeah, so like I think learning how to like navigate around who you are as a person. But yeah, like I've just basically put things in place and kind of like agreed to do things that kind of just run on their own, that can kind of like be good for the brand, even sometimes when I'm not good for myself to be good for the brand. That's just, I guess, kind of where I'm coming from. But Keith said, and that's why you don't have low self-esteem. Yeah, because I don't know. I feel like I procrastinate sometimes, but then I'm like, it doesn't bring me low self-esteem, but I also produce. So I don't know. Thank you, Keith. He said the music in the background is fire. Thanks. When I'm by myself, I have to make sure there's like another aspect of like listening. But yeah, so I guess Keith is right. Not that I was doubting him. I just thought for myself, like I've never had low self-esteem. But if you are, no, I'm not going to say I've never had low self-esteem. I've never had low self-esteem from procrastination. That's what I meant to say. But I could understand if Initiativ reached a year in May. If at this point I had this thought and no one has ever seen it and it had never been pushed out, yes, I understand that. I would feel away. I would be like, oh, it's not possible. Yeah, so I agree with what Keith said. So, tying this back into gratitude, like when it comes to procrastinating or feeling like you can't, I think one thing that I'm so good on is just being grateful for my mindset. And I'm always grateful to God, but if you're not spiritual, just being grateful that you had this mindset. I tell people all the time, like the gifts and things that are given to you, or gifts that you're thinking about, your gifts to the world, or things that you want to curate, that was given to you for a reason. It wasn't given to anybody else. Those things that people are pushing out, they were solely for them. And even if it looks like somebody is doing what you want to do, that thing that was given to you is solely for you. So you create that, you develop it, and it will blossom into something, into what it needs to be, or it will just blossom more. So these visions that we have, these ideas that we get, write them down, make the vision plain. Make a plan, do what you need to do, and get that thing rolling. Tell people about it. Create an Instagram for it. That's like one of the most easiest things to do now. When you get an idea, create an Instagram for it. I have an Instagram now that's like sitting, because I have this idea that I'm getting ready to push, but I needed to save the Instagram, even with Initiativ. I think I started pushing the Instagram in like maybe June. No, not June. Maybe April. And I had the Instagram name for like 2 months before. And I would tell people like, yeah, I have this Instagram, and I don't know like what to do. I don't, I'm kind of like nervous about it, but I had the Instagram just sitting. No posts, no followers. I wasn't following anybody, but it was just sitting, just because I knew that this was something that I wanted to push. And once I pushed it, I knew I wanted that name for the Instagram. So I was like, let me just do this. And now, a year and some change later, I'm doing it again. So I'm sitting on an Instagram, and it means something to me. Now, yours might not be that you need to create an Instagram or an account for it. But it means something to me. And I'm constantly like trying to curate for it so that when it does drop, we're going and we're moving and people are attracted to it. So that's something for me where when it comes to like procrastinating, I've literally like sent something to like my team and just been like, I'm sending this to you because I need to hold myself accountable. And even as me, the person that's like running things, it's like, no, please understand that I'm not the best person to continue to do things. I'm not the most consistent person. And because I know that, this is how I'm navigating around my inconsistencies. And I'll literally tell people like, I'm telling you this because I'm going to make sure you have something in your hands that has to do with this by the deadline that I'm giving myself. And it's not that I don't trust myself, actually. Sometimes I don't trust things just being in my possession. But I'm not going to sit there and just, I don't trust myself, so I'm just not going to do it. No, I'm going to create different things where I'll have different checkpoints here and there. And as of right now, it's working for me. So I'm really, really grateful for those people that are holding me accountable without even knowing that they're holding me accountable. They just know. I'm like, and I tell people like, yo, I'm about to have something ready for you in a few days. But I'm just telling you because I needed to make sure that you know that I'm going to have it for you. And if I know that you're expecting it, I'll have it done. And people, they'll just be like, oh, okay. And they don't know that, like, they're my accountability partner. They're just like, okay, I guess Jazz is doing something new or whatever. But that's that. And like I said, just find things to help you navigate around your procrastination. Find things to help you navigate around your laziness. Find things to help you navigate around your inconsistencies. Because not every successful person, or I'll say like successful people are not lazy. They're not like just these people that were just built differently. They made a decision. They made a decision to get up, to keep getting up. They made a decision to be better. But they're still lazy sometimes. They're still lazy millionaires. They're still lazy or inconsistent billionaires. They're still negative people that are making a lot of money, but they figured out how to navigate around it. And I think that's the main thing in life is like, we all have flaws. We all have things that we don't like. Or we all have things that bring us down. But at the end of the day, how do I navigate around these feelings? How do I become something different? How do I become not of the world or not consumed by society? How do I navigate around it? So I think that's something where when you're looking at yourself, like I said, I'm always very grateful for my mindset because I know that I'm one of a kind. And so are you and the next person and the people that are sitting by you. We're all one of a kind. No one was blessed with the mindset that we have. No one has the exact same experiences that we have, and they shape our mind. So to be your own personal person, that's a really dope thing, and that's something that I think we all can be grateful for, no matter what storms you go through, no matter if it's depression that you deal with, if it's anxiety on extreme levels, if it's health issues, you are your own person. So carry yourself with that kind of like pride and be very, very, very grateful for who it is that you are and what has been given to you. Because even before you look at your clothes, or even before you look at your car or your phone or whatever it is that you have yourself. And if all of that is taken away, will you still be grateful for the person that you are? And I think that's a real question. Just to be grateful for who you are, even if it all is taken away. Because at the end of the day, I know if it all is taken away, we can get it back. We can get it back because of the type of person that I am, the type of person that we are. So that is that. I think I'm going to wrap up this show on gratitude. I hope you guys got some good information. Shout out to you guys in the comments. I definitely appreciate you guys for tuning in. I will be back next Saturday at 10 a.m. Always back here live at the Good News Radio Station, bringing to you the Initiative Radio Show. For this week, the takeaway, definitely find gratitude. Find one thing to be grateful for every day this week. And at the end of the week, you have 7, and do it again. So then you'll have 14 things to be grateful for at the end of that week. So just find one thing a day to be grateful for this week, starting tomorrow. And we'll check back in on Saturday. But yeah, be grateful. Find something to be grateful for, because I promise you, I don't care what it looks like right now, you have something to be grateful for. There are people, I'm not even going to say there are people, because I hate when you shame people into gratitude. But you are you, and you are very different, and you are one of a kind, and no one else is like you. So how dope is that to be your own individual? I think that's beyond amazing. So that's that. I love all of you guys. I genuinely do. And I appreciate you guys for listening. So I'm going to get out of here, but I want you guys to make sure you tune into the rest of the shows. Hopefully I'll see you guys tonight at Mind on the Mic at Peace of Mind. And that's about it. Have a blessed week, and remember to be grateful.